Today. My name's Julie Collins. I'm a senior associate scientist from Academia 2063, and we invite you all to introduce yourself in the chat. Also, just to let you know, if you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A box that you see at the bottom of your screen, or you can also share them during the discussion later. So welcome again. I'm going to hand the floor to our moderator for today, Dr. Jane Namaganda Kiyimba, the head of department at the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering in the School of Engineering at Makerere University. Dr. Jane, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. We are happy to have you here. Today we're going to have an interesting session, and you'll get to know what this DERPIn is, the Digitally Enabled Resilience and Nutrition Policy Innovations that the team has been working on. So to start us off, we'll have opening remarks from Makerere University, from NAC, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry, and Fisheries. Later on, we'll dive into details of the DERPIn project, as well as presentation of the digital platforms. We will then have a Q&A session in which you'll engage with presenters for these tools. And then we will also wrap up with the closing remarks from GIZ, PAFO, as well as Academia 2063. Welcome once again. I will now request Mr. Harrison Kaziro from National Alliance of Agricultural Cooperatives in Uganda to give his opening remarks. You're most welcome, Harrison.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Doctor, and thank you very much, Julie. And hello, everyone, all participants who are here. You're very much welcome. Thank you very much, 2063 team, Julie and the whole team for putting this together. My name is Harrison Kaziro, and I'm the team lead at the National Alliance of Agricultural Cooperatives in Uganda. We are members of the Eastern Africa Farmers Federation, which is also a member of the Pan-African Farmers Organization, or a partner under the DERPIn project. So we are partners of the project on behalf of EF and PAFO. So smallholder farmers quite often make losses when they procure seed and other farm inputs to plant without proper forecast. And we know that they contribute 90% to the food that we eat and sell, so they're very crucial. However, when they don't have access to proper forecasts for weather, it compiles more pressure on their households as they try to get out of poverty. However, the DERPIn project provides an opportunity for farmers through their cooperatives to access long-term forecasts for currencies with potential to determine how much yields they can achieve from their sweat in the garden. With the fact that they contribute immensely to our food and nutrition security, it is important that they have access to tools they need to make evidence-based decisions before they go to invest in the gardens or in the farms. This is why DERPIn becomes a very, very crucial intervention for the purpose of ensuring that we have food security as well as income security at the household level. We are really proud as NAC to have been partners under this pilot, and we extend our sincere appreciation to the 2063 team, Julie and everyone behind the scenes who has enabled this pilot to really conclude very well. The EF team that with whom we've been supporting our partners from Makerere University, Dr. Jenna and the whole team, Dr. Titus and Dr. Serugunda and the whole team basically, as well as my wonderful team from the NAC, Emmanuel, Colin, and the whole leadership. Job well done, really. Thank you very much for all the work that you've done under this pilot. We look forward to the next phase, certainly, to scale the learning that we've captured from the pilot, and we hope that that will give our farmers, the government partners who are part of this, as well as all actors, an opportunity as well as comfort in utilizing the tools we are launching today. So on behalf of myself, the whole NAC team, EAF and PAFO, I implore you all for attending this launch, and hopefully we can all have, we can leave this launch enriched with comfort that we have access to the right tools that we can use to support our farmers, especially the smallholders in the countryside who produce all the food we eat and export, to be able to make evidence, data-based decisions before they invest. So thank you very much, and I wish you all a good launch. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison Kaziro, for those wonderful remarks. I'm sure our participants are looking forward to see what we've done over the past months or so. And now it's my honor to invite our Assistant Commissioner for Food and Nutrition Security at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Mr. Alex Bambona, to give his opening remarks. You're most welcome, Mr. Bambona.
Mr. Bambona, you're muted.
Sorry. Let me unmute. I thought I had unmuted. Thank you so much, Julie and team, Academia. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to convey to you warm greetings from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Uganda. I'm privileged to join you today as we deliberate in ways to transform our food system and make sure we make sure everybody can access a safe and nutritious food, but also be happy and wealthy. I convey my sincere appreciation to all the organizers and our development partners who have facilitated this function, particularly the academia and all those who are funding them. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to remind you of what we came about, or what we pointed out during our UN Food System Summit, because what academia is embarking on or has already done fits very well in what we visualized sometime back, 2021. What we visualized that time, and which is true today, is that Uganda is endowed with very good, favorable agricultural conditions, which can support year-round production and supply of food. Perhaps many of you know it is a part of Africa. So Uganda, we are endowed. We call it natural endowed. However, our potential has not been adequately exploited due to limited access to technology. Among other things, inadequate infrastructure, poor production and post-harvest handling, limited market access, climate change, environmental degradation, and all levels of value addition. So when you look around, the DERPIn project is fitting very well in those agenda, in those issues of trying to mitigate, trying to see how we can remove those barriers. Particularly, the issue of resilience of our food system in all forms, economic, due to economic and natural shocks. Because we have two kinds of shocks. We have, which are key. We have economic shocks and we have natural shocks. The market issues, and I saw it very clear in the DERPIn data and the information products. Is of a key concern, especially for secure access to safe and nutritious foods for the vulnerable groups, but also for the sustainable economic growth. We realize that the issue of unsafe food and poor quality products are affecting our health and market competitiveness of Uganda foods. Those are issues which were identified during the people's UN food system. And I can see the issue, DERPIn is catering some of these. Another thing we realized is we have limited social protection services and coverage across the country. This is related to vulnerability tracking, which in the DERPIn, I think it takes care of. And lastly, we realized we have low investment in food systems research, science and technology and innovations. I'm giving you this to make you see the connection of the DERPIn project and our food system identified barriers, which DERPIn we hope, which was the DERPIn program must fit in our food system transformation agenda. So looking at all these areas, it is very clear that the current innovations on DERPIn are in one way or another, either directly linked or an enabler to the undertaking. Especially the inroads in DERPIn are related to the investments in food system research, science and technology. As you are aware, that is an enabler across the board for all decision in investment, tracking vulnerability, success of performance and follow-up remedy actions. So really, I'm excited with this DERPIn program, and it is my sincere hope that the products from DERPIn will potentially be linked to available systems in the country and synergistically improve performance of our food systems. Of course, without doubt, there are other similar initiatives ongoing in our various information systems at country level and in the region. For example, within MAIF, we're in the process of developing the National Integrated Food and Agriculture Management Information System, INFAMIS. Of course, we have the policy development model that has inbuilt information systems within its implementation framework. I'm sure there can be many linkages with DERPIn here. And at the regional level at EAC and COMESA, we are establishing regional food balance sheet information systems. And they are using similar techniques under DERPIn, such as remote sensing techniques in these RECs to track this food balance sheet information system. I note that the information products under DERPIn include real-time crop type maps, issue vulnerability assessment, and nutrient adequacy maps. These will be particularly useful addition in our food security and nutrition assessments currently under the national IPC framework, which I happen to chair apparently, and we are going to release this information, IPC and food and nutrition information assessment results this October. Perhaps we should have used the DERPIn data to improve our information system. I'm particularly excited by the third one of nutrient adequacy maps. Perhaps for obvious reasons, because I've been very much in that area of trying to nutrition sensitive agriculture. But also it is really somehow a bit innovative and a great addition to our information systems. It is my sincere hope, therefore, that to do more enriching sustainable information product for food system transformation in our region and the country. And really, I thank you so much for this initiative in our area of food system transformation, especially in the area of information products for good and my country. I submit.
Thank you, Mr. Bambona, for those wonderful remarks. And I'm sure our participants are now looking forward to seeing what we have in detail for this project. And at this juncture, I will welcome Miss Julie Collins to share with us in detail about this DERPIn project. Julie, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, moderator, and thank you again to all of the partners under DERPIn and to our opening speakers, Harrison and Mr. Alex Bambona. We're very happy that you were able to join us today. So I am going to give a very short overview of the DERPIn project, what the DERPIN project is and what it was setting out to accomplish before we go into the presentation of the digital platforms that we've created under the project. DERPIN stands for Digitally Enabled Resilience and Nutrition Policy Innovations, and it's a project that really aims to address some of the issues that Mr. Kaziro and Mr. Bambona were speaking about to address ongoing vulnerability in Uganda and in other African countries. The project began in 2023 and officially closed just last month. However, the data and information products that we've produced under the project will continue to be maintained and we hope will serve as a resource into the future. DERPIn was commissioned by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and carried out on behalf of GIZ by our organization, Academia 2063, in collaboration with PAFO and with country partners in 5 African countries, including, of course, Uganda. And this project aims to address the experiences that the continent has undergone in the last several years, where we've seen that shocks are increasing, that levels of vulnerability to shocks is high, and that this results in very negative impacts of different shocks on food security and nutrition. So one of the reasons for which shocks can have such a severe impact is that policymakers and other planners have very limited access to data and information to understand what are the current conditions, where are the areas where the effects of a shock could be especially severe, what are the best solutions to design in response to shocks. Information and data and evidence is what is needed to really address vulnerability, to increase resilience, and to plan for shocks. And there are severe data gaps in many African countries that limit the ability of decision makers to adequately prepare. So the DERPIn project aims to take advantage of advancements in digital technologies, which have really been increasing the availability of information in order to generate additional data and evidence and to make this data and evidence more accessible to users. So the project hopes to increase the capacity of governments, of the private sector, of farmers and farmer organizations, of NGOs, of researchers, and of all agri-food systems actors to design solutions, to create policies, and to make decisions that are guided by evidence through the power of digital technologies. We have 2 main work streams under this project. The first is on agricultural data. Our team uses remote sensing data from satellites and artificial intelligence models to do crop mapping and to create yield and production forecasts for the current seasons, as well as a range of other agricultural statistics, including crop suitability maps, detection of crop growth anomalies, information on agricultural greenhouse gas emissions, and related information. The second work stream is on nutrient adequacy and community vulnerability. And here we estimate and map nutrient adequacy gaps, as well as a multidimensional vulnerability. And these 2 work streams are each shared in a different digital platform to make the data and information accessible. And it's these platforms that my colleagues will be showing you more of today. In Uganda, DERPIn is implemented in collaboration with Makerere University, with NAC, and Academia 2063. And we've carried out data collection at the beginning and in the final year of the project, which allowed for crop modeling and production yield forecasts. We've also carried out several different capacity strengthening and outreach events, including events specifically for farmers to help them use the data and information that are produced. And today we are officially launching the digital platforms that we've released. But as I said before, these will continue to be maintained and updated, also improved as we receive more and more feedback from users. And so even though the project is closed, our activities are ongoing in terms of supporting the use of the data and information that are produced. Today, we'll hear from my colleague, Dr. Tankari, a presentation of the FS Core platform. This is the platform with information on nutrient adequacy and vulnerability. And then you'll hear from my colleague, Mr. Ja, on the AGWA platform, which shares the agricultural statistics based on satellite data. And after that, we'll have opportunities for your questions and for your feedback, for your suggestions and ideas. So I want to say thank you and mwebalo and welcome again And I'll pass the floor back to our moderator, Dr. Jane. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Julie. That was a wonderful overview of the project. And now, as you've seen, the partners, one of the partners on this execution of this work in Uganda was Makerere University. And I have the pleasure, before we go deeper into the platforms, to welcome the Dean School of Engineering and Makerere University to give a few remarks before we go deeper into the platforms that have been developed. Professor Dorothy, you're welcome.
All right, thank you very much. First of all, let me apologize for late joining, running to another meeting. But I'm very, very happy to be here and the opportunity to share, because this has been a really big opportunity for Makerere University to collaborate on this project from the School of Engineering and bringing the different aspects. This has been a very important part. Also, it's helps us appreciate further and further why we need more data and the opportunities that we can have with access to data, because one of the challenges we've long had as a continent is the lack of data. And so initiatives such as this that then can demonstrate what the opportunities are if we have access to good data and what we can do with this data are therefore important. And with the space for digital tools and the opportunity that we have for it, especially in the space for digital inclusion, in enabling better productivity from agriculture, and agriculture being the backbone for a lot of the African countries. Again, this type of initiative is very important, and in fact also what inspires the work around DERPIn that you've just had our colleague Julie shared about it. And so really from the side of Makerere, we are grateful for this opportunity to have worked on this project where we're part of contributing to the pool of data available, and that can support different areas in agriculture, and being very proud that we are at a moment today where we are launching the digital platforms that can support further the work in this area is something very important to us. And we also see that the work that we are launching, what you will see today, is not really the end of the line as we would see it, but it's really the beginning. It's opening up the space for us, and it's showing not only our role as members from the academia, but what it is that we can do with in collaboration with other partners in this space. We had our team going down to the local districts, down to working with communities, working with farmers, and really this is what we are looking forward as a university, one that is looking to be research-led, but also that wants to make meaningful contribution to our national development. So I missed my time, so let me quickly wrap up and just say that on behalf of Makerere University, and I'm really proud to be able to share these comments on behalf of our university. First, I would like to thank all our DERPIn project partners, of course, the National Alliance for Agricultural Cooperatives in Uganda, Academia 2063, we've done some work together. We've done now this project that we come to close, and I'm looking forward to even more work that we can do together. The East Africa Farmers Federation, the Pan-African Farmers Federation, GIZ, of course, for all the contributions to the project. And as I said, looking from the School of Engineering, and these are the different partners that we're engaging. This is what we really want to see. Also, I have to thank very much our colleagues from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries for all the assistance. We would not have been able to get these projects off the ground without their support. And so I'm really grateful. And of course, to all the participants who are joining us today, thank you for making the time to be in. We've tried to also promote this within our spaces. And last but not least, to the team at Makerere. This was a learning process, a planning process for us in some ways. It was a good opportunity for us to get out into the community. It was a good opportunity for us to work with partners from within and across the borders. So thank you, Dr. Jane, Dr. Beck, and really all the team, Dr. Jonathan, for all the work and all the team we had. Thank you all, and thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Professor Dorothy, for those wonderful remarks. And now, members online, our participants, we go now deeper into what this DERPIn has produced. First, we'll have a presentation on the Food System Crisis Observatory and Response, which is one of the platforms that has been developed. And this will be presented by Dr. Mahamoud Tankari, the Deputy Director and Head of Policy Modeling Unit at Academia 2063. You're welcome, Mr. Dr. Tankari.
Thank you, moderator. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Okay, let me share my screen. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
So it's my pleasure today to present you one of the key products under DERPIn project, which is called Food System Crisis Observatory and Response. So it's a platform that has been developed during this project. And my objective today is to share with you some capabilities of this platform. So I think this is very important for us, and also it will help understand the value of what has been generated. So why this is something very crucial? This is due to the fact that we all know that crisis frequency or shocks frequency is increasing when you consider, for example, climate shocks or even some socio-economic shocks. So the frequency is increasing, so which means that we need to be better prepared in order to really respond or to mitigate the impact of different shocks. So that is the idea behind this platform. It wants to really help us to be better prepared, which means that we can direct our action, target the areas that will be the most impacted, and also even to efficiently use our resource. We know that resources are scarce, so which means that we need to optimize the use in order to maximize the impact. So that is the idea. So the platform that has been developed, as you can see here on my screen, it has two components. The first component focuses on vulnerability. So why this platform displayed or provide evidence in terms of vulnerability? So this is something very important because it really helps us, as I said, identify the most vulnerable location so that resource can be used or can be used to target the households that are located there. So one aspect that has been considered, or important aspect that has been considered under this platform, is the fact that we consider the multidimensionality of vulnerability. So we know that vulnerability is multidimensional, which means that it's related to some socio-economic and even environmental factors or dimensions that can really affect vulnerability or even determine the vulnerability level of a household. So based on this definition, this platform considers 4 dimensions here. We can see that if you scroll this, you can see the different dimensions that has been considered in order to build a composite vulnerability index, the one that is currently displayed. So we have this composite vulnerability index, which is composed of different sub-index based on the dimensions that we consider for the vulnerability. So we can see that we have a sub-index here based on health system vulnerability, which is also a good proxy of access to health infrastructure and even other type of infrastructures that are very important for vulnerability of household, like access to healthcare center, so the distance, so which is related to access to road. So this is also an important proxy for access to other type of infrastructure. Then we have also another index or sub-index that has been used, which is related to nutrient adequacy. Nutrient adequacy is also an indicator that we think is a good proxy for socioeconomic vulnerability of a household. So that is why we consider it as proxy here. And then we also have per capita food consumption expenditure. So this is also an index that we use in order to capture this food security dimension of vulnerability, household vulnerability, because if you have a lower per capita food consumption, it means that you are really prone to food insecurity. So that is why we have this indicator, which is a good proxy of household vulnerability. And then we have another dimension, which is vulnerability to climate change. So this is something that has been also captured. And currently it's possible to display the level of vulnerability depending on the dimensions that you consider. Okay, this is for the composite vulnerability index. But when I select the health system vulnerability, we can see that now we have another pattern that is displayed or profile. So let me select another dimension like nutrient adequacy. Also that the region, there is also a change. So it varies depending on the dimensions that we consider. So this is also something important to consider, because it means that depending on the type of shock, if we are dealing with a climate shock, there are some regions or sub-regions that need to be targeted. If we are dealing with climate shock here, there are also some sub-regions that will need to be targeted in terms of intervention. So this is something very important because it really helps us to make our intervention very specific depending on the type of shocks that we are dealing with. So I think this is something very important in terms of the platform capability. This is something that can really help guide the decision making or formulate evidence-based decision in African countries or even in DERPIn countries. Yeah. Let me now move to the second component. The second component provides or displays the nutrient adequacy at district level. So the nutrient adequacy is an indicator of household livelihood. It shows that directly measures the household nutrition level because it's a measure of hiding hunger. So at household level, but it's also a good proxy of household livelihood. So based on this platform, it's possible to display the nutrient adequacy level for some, I think, certain micronutrient that we consider in this platform, which means that we can see or identify the district that have currently an adequate level of nutrient, which means that we can also identify, for example, districts that are really facing some issue in terms of nutrient adequacy. So it means that it's possible to identify districts that need to be supported the most. So that is the idea here. So when I select, for example, one nutrient like calcium, we can see that there are some districts like Amuru, Lamu that displayed a level of nutrient that are not satisfactory compared to others. So this is something very important, I think, in terms of policy formulation and also for the private sector. For example, we know that there are some policies or even interventions that support production of nutrient-dense food in some specific communities. For example, if we know that in specific communities they are dealing with a specific nutrient deficiency, so some intervention can promote the production of some specific crops that are dense in that type of nutrient. So this is something very important in terms of value chain prioritization, and also even crops that need to be grown in order to deal with malnutrition issue in different communities. Then we have, in addition to that, when, for example, I select one district, let me select, for example, which one, just for example, this one, Napak district. So when I select that district, it's possible to display the nutrient adequacy level for the different nutrients that we consider here, the 30 nutrients. So we can display the level of adequacy for the 30 nutrient, which is something important, like a base or our reference. So before, for example, a shock, or what is the current situation. So this is also an important information because it can really help us identify the nutrients that are lacking or the ones that need to be prioritized. So depending on the type of intervention, which are related to, for example, we can have intervention, market-based intervention, we can have some intervention like fortification, we can have some intervention related to how to really improve the food supply, for example, increase the production of some nutrient-dense crop in the region. For example, we can see that for this district, Napak region is really dealing or is really facing an issue related to this, to vitamin B12. So it means that intervention that can really help increase the consumption of this nutrient is something that need to be promoted. So now it depends on the type of interventions that we want to implement. But at least we know the main nutrients that need to be on which we need to focus in order to deal with this micronutrient deficiency in this district. And in addition to that, it's also possible to display the adequacy nutrient by household head gender, which means that we can see, depending on the household gender, we can see the level of nutrient adequacy. For example, here, we can see that for iron, household headed by men display a higher level of nutrient adequacy compared to households that are headed by female. But if we consider another nutrient like vitamin B12, we can see that household headed by female display a higher level of nutrient adequacy compared to households that are headed by male. So this is also an important information. It means that we need to develop specific policies, differentiated policies, depending on the type of nutrients that we are dealing with. So we need to take into account not only the spatial distribution of household, and also we need also to factor in the gender of the household head in our policy formulation. So I think this is something very important to mention, and it's based on this platform, or based on this platform, it's possible to have this type of evidence that can really help us improve the decision-making, formulate sound policies. Yeah. Now let me move to the next component of our of this platform, or one of the capabilities of this platform, which is related to policy option. So in addition to the profile, content profile, what I just displayed here, what I just displayed here, But before moving to that, I want to add that it's also possible to display for each nutrient, to display the five food group consumed. For example, if you consider calorie, it's possible to know for this district, what are the top 5 food products consumed. So it's possible to see here, for example, when we consider kilocalorie, we can see that the top 5 food products are eggs, maize, matoke, branch, hip, and even rice. And then we can see also the share of nutrients, so their contribution, and then the nutrient content, which is also an important information in terms of, for example, food fortification or biofortification if you want to grow nutrient-dense food in the community. Okay, now, in addition to the country profile, it's also possible to simulate different intervention. So here we mean that before the implementation of a policy, or if there is a shock, or we are anticipating a shock in the country, it's possible to get an idea about the impact on the different nutrient adequacy, which is also an indicator of household livelihood. For example, we have in a specific district like Kaliro, we have a project that aims to increase household income by its end, for example, by 10% or 5%. If we assume, for example, 10%. So it's possible to see, based on using this platform, what is the baseline, so the current level of adequacy based on the current household income. And then at the end of the project, if this target is achieved, what will be the impact of the different household nutrient adequacy? So we can see that here, if we assume a change of 10% at the end of the project in this district, some nutrient adequacy level will increase or will change. For example, to increase from 58 to 63%, which is something very important. It means that this project will really improve household nutrient adequacy level, so which will impact the nutritional status of household. So this is something important to mention. And in addition to that, we can also simulate some intervention like cash transfer for household. We can also simulate some interventions that try to really impact the food price, how to make, to increase the food affordability. For example, when we try to subsidize food prices. Let me consider one example. For example, this one. If I want to change a specific food group, so I will do a simulation which will impact the food group price. So here we can see that it's possible to display the different food groups. For example, beverages, cereal and product, fruits, meat, fish, milk, pulse, nuts. We also have vegetables. So I will just consider one example like cereal and product. So if we have a policy that aim to reduce, to facilitate access to cereals to household, for example, a policy that aim to subsidize food price, for example, let me simulate a decrease of 20% here. So we can see that this policy will really improve the nutrient adequacy of household. For example, if you consider iron, we can see that it improved from the baseline value, which is 66% to 69%. So this is, I think, a significant improvement. And it also helps us know if the policy is really impacting the nutritional status of household. So these are some of the capabilities of the tool. And in addition to that, we can also simulate the impact on specific or the impact of a specific food item price change. For example, one food price here, a food item, we can consider fresh bean. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. So it's possible to simulate a specific food item price change. So to see the impact, it can be an increase, or a shock, or even a decrease or a negative shock, for example, which will cause a price surge, or even a policy that try to stabilize or control food price by, for example, subsidizing or any type of interventions that aim to really reduce food price for household. And I would like to mention that the indicators that we have here, this nutrient adequacy, is also a good indicator that can be used to track, as I said, how interventions that aim to improve household livelihood. For example, by increasing household income in a specific community, by increasing access to the market, labor, which will impact household income. So it's possible to see the change because it's something that we can collect the data in a short period and then process the data and even see how the policies that we are implementing is really impacting the household welfare in the different communities. So this is something that can be used. It's a good proxy of household livelihood. It captures not only this nutrition aspect, but also other aspects like poverty, which is related to income. So when we say income, we have different type of channel from which we can really improve household income. As I said, labor market can be even directly from by improving, for example, productivity in some community, households that are involved in agriculture production. Okay, maybe I will stop here and thank you for your attention. But before that, I would like to mention that on this platform, we also have a web page where you can find the methodology. So the different steps that has been followed in order to generate the different results that can be displayed on this platform. So I think something important to share, and then we look forward to receiving your feedback. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Tankari, for that wonderful presentation, sharing with us and all the participants about this FS Core platform, which has all this data and analysis on community vulnerability and nutrients adequacy. And now we move to the second platform, which is the Africa Agricultural Watch. And it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Kadim Dia, the Senior Associate Scientist at Academia 2063. Mr. Kadim, please go ahead to talk about this Africa Agricultural Watch platform.
Moderator, let me share my screen. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You can.
So I'm going to present the platform related to AgWap, but before that,
Oh, sorry, Kadim. Yeah, I think it's not presentation mode.
It's not in presentation mode. Okay. Still?
I think we see, oh, now, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
now it is.
That's good. Okay.
Thanks.
So before coming with the platform, I'm just going to present a little bit the work we have been doing on the related to the machine learning and the AI and remote sensing, and also the data gathering have been done on the field. So we combine everything to come up with really a platform that give access to the data to all stakeholders. So just to say that we develop crop mappings, crop forecasts. Just here, I'm just trying to list the how we can use all of those data we have generated. So for example, we have generated a crop type mapping. So just to enhance food security. For example, we try to understand what crops are grown and where, because that can facilitate planning and distribution strategy. Because if I am a policymaker and I know at each stage of the year where, for example, the maize is and where also the cassava is, so I can act accordingly. So also in terms of agricultural productivity and planning, identification of area where crop yields can be improved, because I have now the photography of what is really happening on the ground, and also the forecast and the yields, so I can act accordingly. So better planning of crop rotation, because if I have, for example, for several years, I can see, for example, what have been grown in this area. So while following on the next year, I can say, for example, if they respect a crop rotation or not, and maybe give agronomics advice. So in terms also of climate adaptation, so adapting farming practice, because maybe we may have low yields in some areas, so we can identify it at 10 by 10 meters now. And maybe also when we have also climate crises like drought or extreme events, maybe we can also see that and how it can impact in near real time the production, food production for those different crops. And also in terms of smallholder farmer support, we can also provide information on the potential of the market opportunities, because we know, for example, we know how much people are doing maize and how much are expecting in different areas. So based on your location, we can say, for example, if there is too much maize or maybe less maize in that area, and you can act accordingly. So crop monitoring also can help to observe, evaluate, and manage agricultural land and crop condition, the land use. So how much do I have? What kind of crop people are growing in the ground, and also we can have a photography of that, and that's really helpful for decision making. So also we have an increase in agricultural statistics through years, because usually we use like the census each 10 years, but now we can have the photography each year and also each moment of the year. We just run the model and we can see, for example, how much maize do we have, the area cultivated in maize, cassava, and other crops. So now we can see for each year what was really the areas dedicated to each crops, and that is really something that can help to plan and being like more up to date compared to the traditional way of using maybe census database on 10 years. So we also build the crop suitability maps, but for that I will come later on the platform. So also in terms of public sector and farmer organization, so policy development and planning. So here we try also to put the evidence, all the data we have, just to help using up-to-date, for example, data and the forecast we are generating also are 10 by 10 meters, so we can know before the end of the season how much are we expecting to have. And if maybe there is shortage in some area, expected shortage, we can maybe act before it happens. And maybe we have now more information to act, but locally also at community level, because we are not at the regional level, we are at pixel level. So meaning that we can really detail the intervention. So also equip extension services with near real-time data to advise farmer, because we have really what is happening on the ground, and we can follow it via the satellites and mixing also with the ground data we already collect. So facilitate also climate smart agriculture by identifying areas for improved resilience strategy. We may know, for example, chronic area where we have low yield and maybe drought, and maybe we can investigate that. In terms also of agribusiness and food security, the supply chain, for example, forecast crop production before harvest. So maybe, for example, the private sector can know for sourcing. They may know, for example, the region where to go, and also optimize the intervention. For example, they may know we need to go to the north or to the west, because given the map I'm having for maize, maybe we will have more. It will be more interesting to go there, and maybe also give them opportunity to the farmers of having contract farming, because now when you have the clear data as of agribusiness, I'm able now to act, because I'm seeing what is really happening, and I can take it on my advantage. And also on a farmer level, the possibility of having more contracts and evacuating the production. So capacity building and training also, the idea is to empower the farmers cooperative with actionable data for collective decision making. Because if we have everything and we are organized as cooperative, we may be more powerful, and we can decide, for example, based on the data, what to do this year, and just to maximize the profit, and maybe also having more less impacts on the environment. So food security and resilience planning also use crop type and yield for national food security assessment and emergency planning. Because if we know, for example, what is really happening on the ground, maybe we may have shortage here, we may have surplus here, so I can adjust on where to go or where to prepare to go before the risks really happens. So targeted distribution also, here, for example, if I need to distribute the inputs, I may have maybe new coming. So maybe they will need also inputs, but I may not see that if I use traditional way. But if I use the photography each year, I may see the new coming, those who are doing well, those who are doing not well, for example, and I can target really the intervention needed for each of them. And also those who are doing maybe more, maybe they may need more inputs, and maybe those who are doing less, more advice and etc. So also these can help really have the data-driven recommendation for input like fertilizer, pesticide, seeds, distribution. Risk assessment and product scoring, for example, in terms of insurance and banking, also can assess the credit worthiness using the historical yield data. But this is not at regional level, because we will be at 10 by 10 meters. So meaning now we are at the plot level. So everything, if there is claim and everything, we are able to back the what we are saying with data, and we will talk the same language between the insurance company and the farmer, and that will resolve a lot of problems. So also in terms of tech and data providers, we provide APIs, so they may use all those data we are having, the forecast, the climate data, the crop mapping. They can build something on top just to make the ecosystem more fluid. So if I'm a tech provider, I can use, for example, the data we provide here. We provide APIs so they can use it, and also have developed more product based on that. Also, we support smallholder farmers with regular field size and crop rotation, because as I just say, we are able to see what people are doing at 10 by 10 meters. So for example, if we keep doing the same thing, maybe we are able to see it, because I will be able to see what you are doing now, what you was doing last year, and maybe if you keep repeating that through year, maybe we can say that you are not respecting the crop rotation, or maybe there is advice that can be given by agronomists, but based on those data we will be generating. Also, in terms of conclusion, maybe for the prior sector, we will have more accurate crop production forecast, optimize supply chain and market planning, because I know really what to expect in terms of production, and where strong risk management for finance and insurance, because now we can see, if I say I have heavy rainfalls in that area, we are able to back it, and we are also able to see how the production was affected at 10 by 10 meters without really going to that place each time. So that is also a game-changing thing. So improve also sustainability tracking and ESG compliance, because we are able to see, for example, if we are the price, we are able to see where the rise is, and also the emission of. So that's also something that can be, the data can help with. So also a scalable driven solution for agribusiness. So this is also through the APIs we are developing. Also, we put the data, we make the data available for tech providers to build also all the solution on top of it. So here is the summary of what we intend to do: crop mapping, classification, crop anomaly, crop suitability, yield forecast, tree drought vulnerability, geobiophysical anomalies. All of these just to have an idea of really what is coming in the near real time. So also these application related can help to have like strategy and decision making, because at the government level, I have the data to be more specific on my policy, improve granularity of the agro production forecast. We are now at 10 by 10 meters. So just I will come to that in the platform. So also in terms of agricultural statistics, now we have the data for each year and not based maybe on census on the traditional way. So I think that was just to give you an idea of the application that can be, how the data can be used for the different stakeholders. So now I'm going to present the platform itself. So here is the platform. It's called Agua. So agua.org/Uganda. So we have it in French and in English. So here I choose in English. So when this is the landing page. So when you come, you will have the about section here. When you click on about, that's where we describe really the problematics and how we overcome the data issue using the AI, the remote sensing, and also ground truthing the model and the data we are having here. So here you have the whole text, and also we have a video here that can describe the platform. So you can go there and click on it for more information. That will really help to navigate the platform. So also we have on top of that, I will go now on the product. We have the food crop production. So when I enter the food crop production, so here we go. So when I enter that, that's where I have the food crop production forecast. So here we forecast the crop production before the end of the season. For example, here it was beans for 2025. So here you can see the pixels are 10 by 10 meters, and you can see where to expect higher production and where to expect less. And also this can really helpful to see where to go if I would like to have more beans. Also, we have also maize, for example. You can visualize it. So when you click on it, you will see where really the maize is, and you can go where you need to go for having maize. We have also crop mapping that really identify, for example, where the crops are. So here it's probability of, for example, being soybean or maize or cassava. So we We identified, here you can see the value is between 0 and 1. So meaning when we are close to 1, meaning that's high probability of being beet, soybean, for example. Yeah. And you have also the possibility to choose the different crops. For example, when I choose cassava and I just visualize, okay, I choose the year 2025 and I visualize, you can see that this is cassava, where we expect to have cassava in 2025. So this also, as I was just saying, is a photography of what is happening, and we can run it maybe each time of the year to see how really where do we have cassava each time of the year. Also, on top of that, we try also to develop the crop suitability maps. So meaning that if I have maize, I may have maize, but where else can we grow maize also, where it is suitable in Uganda. So we use different parameters. We use, for example, how the evapotranspiration, what the evapotranspiration is. So here, for example, in the red, you may see where else we can grow maize, for example, cultivated, but not cultivated. We do not have maize, but maize can be grown there in terms of evapotranspiration, because the evapotranspiration is okay for maize. We have it also, for example, for land surface temperature, the temperature, when you can see that, because this is where the temperature is okay for maize. So we have also several other indices, the soil moisture, for example, where the soil moisture is okay for maize. You can see that. And you have everything. And after that, we combine everything to see where everything is okay for maize, for example. And you can see the additional area you can add if you would like the extension of maize production. We have also other we are following also geophysical parameters like the rainfall, the NDVI, and the temperature. And for each district, for example, here when you click, you may see the historical data, the historical mean. So here, for example, I will disable the other year just to let the current year, which is 2025, the mean of the last 30 year, the maximum of the last 30 year, the minimum of the 30 year, and the average. This helps us to see, are we in a normal year or are we deviating from what we have used to see? So if there is maybe some anomaly, we can detect it and act accordingly and see how this will impact the expected production. We have it also for LST, which is the temperature. So we are following and monitoring, so trying just to see how good are we in a normal year or are we deviating from what we used to see. So if there is maybe some anomalies, we really we catch that and we can act accordingly on what is the impact on that, maybe on the production and everything. We have the same also for the rainfall. We track daily how was the rainfall. We have extremes, and when we follow that, we are able to see if some extreme events happens. We also have here the crop phenology metrics that we are following. For example, here we have it for each crops. Here it's the soybean, for example, by district. So where we have soybean, for example, for each district, we try to follow. So these really help us to see how the soybean behave, for example. And if we have that, we are able to see where the season starts, where the season ends, and see how really the season was for different years. And we are able also to see if they will have shifting in the seasons, the starting, the middle, and the end, and monitor that also. We have also the climate data. Here, when you click on it, you may see the climate data. So for example, here we have the methane emission for different periods for the year. So we can see that here is the list. So you see we have very long list. So when you click on one and you visualize, you may see that we have different methane emissions throughout the year. So this is also information that can really help those who would like to use it, it's downloadable, and also we have APIs to provide those data. We have also the temperature trend analysis. Here also is really, we try to focus on for each month from January to December, for example, each month we're going to see if it's becoming hotter or cooler compared to the 40 years average. For example, here we are in July, for example, we try to compare this July to the 40 years July back. So when we see that it's hotter compared to the last 40 years, so for some area you see 0.30. So here it's a bit normal. Sometimes we have less, so it's cooler. But when you have 2, 3, so meaning that this month is likely hotter compared to the July or August of the last 40 years. We have it also the daily stats of temperature here, where you can see have the data here following each daily. So when an anomaly occurs, we really try to see what will be the impact in terms of crop production. And you can download the data also clicking here. And it's really available and really downloadable. We have also publication here where you can go. So for each forecast, we try to generate briefs, 2 pages, where we really describe what is happening and what the data, the status is, and what to expect. We also have all the series you can visit here. We have also the data tab where you can go and download everything. So this is also just for those who would like to use it and do more analysis. So we have also here, I will stop here. We have also developed an app. So here is we have also an application for mobile. So here you can see that this is the app. So you can go there. We have APIs. So you can go select the crop, use that, and those who would like us to develop more on that, we have the APIs. So the data can be really available for those who would like to build something on top of it. So I think I will just stop there and back to you, moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kadim, for that wonderful presentation and showing what this Africa Agriculture Watch platform is able to do, all the statistics and information, production forecasts, and the crop maps. This is really great information for policy and to inform other plans in the agriculture sector. And now, participants, we are going to move into the second last segment of this, which is an open discussion and Q&A. I encourage you to please type your questions or comments in the Q&A box, and these will be addressed. Firstly, we have a question. Before I dive into the question, we have a comment from Paul Gibson. Thank you for your comment. But mainly his background, he's a plant breeder with over 48 years of experience and working across 5 developing countries. And his view is that the platforms that have been shared and the associated modeling are valuable for macro level and for promoting good policy decisions. But he also feels that the plant breeders have not done enough regarding the mixed small farm level enterprises, and there is need for really targeted research that can feed into the crop models. And also with working across different disciplines, so that where you have breeders, you also have crop specialists being involved. Okay, and I don't know, Kadim, could you maybe speak to that as well?
Okay, thank you very much. So I think for this work, what we try to do is first to go with identifying, because what we see the work is like we have different levels. The first level is really to identify where the crops are. So, for example, in our country or in other country, you need first to identify, for example, what is the maize, how can I identify the maize? So that one is really a first step and a game-changing approach. So now we are able to identify the maize at using the satellite. Also, we go also on the ground and use the phenology metrics and everything we know, those indices that can help us really to see what is the signal of maize, what is the signal of cassava, and compare it also to the ground truthing. So now the next level is we are not yet at maybe distinguishing between maybe what is in maize, for example, the different kind of maize we are having in it. So, but we for example, when we say maize, we talk about maize in general. But yeah, and I think maybe one more next step that can be used is to use, for example, what we have content of maize, because now we are able to identify the maize, we are able to identify the cassava. Next step should be now what kind of maize do we have in different maize do we have in the country, and that can be done via those who are more in agronomics and breedings, etc. But for this work, we really we do not distinguish between maybe maize and, for example, different kind of the different varieties, etc. But or at least to have where the maize is and how much is the yield. Based on that, we have the global maize. But yeah, but that's what we are on now. But yeah, but we are not on the variety and the breeding. Not yet at that level. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Kadim. Julie, do you have something to supplement to that?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Jane. And yeah, thank you very much for the comments and the questions that we have in the box. And yeah, as Khadim was saying, I think there's a lot of extensions. There's a lot of additional areas that we want to go into to expand the work. And the basic kind of approach of combining satellite data with ground truth data is something that has proven very successful under DERPIn. We've been able to use that to do the crop mapping, as Khadim mentioned. And so it could be extended in different areas, like fine-tuning the crop mapping to look at different varieties, as Khadim mentioned. We also have, we've spoken with partners about different ideas, such as exploring how satellite data could be used to detect the nutrient contents of crops even before they're harvested. That could be an interesting area to go into. The crop suitability maps that Khadim was looking at, maybe those could be continue to be made more relevant for crop breeders if we are able to enrich those with more information, for example, on different types of soil characteristics, even soil nutrient content. Those are areas that we would love to be able to pursue, and are happy to work with partners to look for resources to do that kind of work. So we're definitely ready and interested to do that. So I'm looking at also the other questions. Would you like me, Dr. Jane, to start responding to some of them? Thank you. And then, and then maybe my colleagues can add too. There's a question from Fabius on how do we get grassroots farmers? How do we link them to better marketplaces, agrochemicals? How do we improve productivity in terms of quality and quantity? And let me take the first part of the question first, which is how getting to grassroots farmers. And I think that Paul Gibson's comments also mentioned that also. We've been very fortunate in the DERPIn project to work with wonderful partners at the country level, including Makerere and also including NAC, the National Alliance for Agricultural Cooperatives. And NAC has been really helping to reach farmers and also to reach the agricultural cooperatives leadership in different areas of Uganda. So we were able to have a session with farmers to introduce them to this type of information. We know that the digital platforms that we're producing are not accessible to everybody, that there are people who aren't able to open a laptop and see all this information. As Hada mentioned, we're developing a mobile app that will be available. And even that, of course, it's going to be accessible to more people, but probably not to everyone. We think that it would be important to work with agricultural advisory services and agricultural extension. And so we're very open and interested in sitting down or in continuing to sit down with the ministry and also with Makerere and with others who are working on agricultural advisory services to see what frameworks there might be to integrate this type of information into the advice that is provided to farmers. We're also happy for other suggestions and ideas. In terms of improving agricultural productivity, I think that's, of course, a very big question, and we could talk about it for a long time. And I know that we have a lot of people here who have a lot to say on it. But maybe one thing I'll just say is that under DERPIn, our approach is to increase the availability of information for all types of agri-food system actors, farmers, but also policymakers and researchers. And we know, as our partners at Makerere know, our partners in research institutions, that agricultural research and development is very, very important for increasing productivity. Investments by the ministry are very important, and we hope that the information that this project is providing can help to better target these investments. So, for example, the real-time information on where crops are being grown in Uganda, we hope can be used to better target investments in different crops, and also can be used by farmer organizations to help with their advocacy in terms of attracting investments. So that, I think, is one possible area where this project could help to provide the information needed to make productivity improving investments. And there were a few questions from Dr. Miro on the data sources. So thank you for those. And so for the FS Core platform on nutrient adequacy and vulnerability, we use household survey data. So for each of the DERPIn countries, we use the latest publicly available household consumption survey. For Uganda, you can check the methodology page to see which survey that is. And we are monitoring the availability of consumption survey data, and whenever a new data set is released, then we will update the information. For several of the DERPIn countries, we're in the process now of updating the analysis to update on the platform since a new consumption survey has been released. For Uganda, we'll stay in touch with our partners so that whenever there is more recent data available, we can use it to update the platform. And for the Agua platform, which uses satellite data, that satellite data is widely available for the entire country and on a near real-time basis. Satellite data is available quite frequently. So for that platform, the data is the latest available. The analyses that we've done from the data, the crop suitability maps, the production forecasts, et cetera, we carry those analyses out depending on the state of development of the agricultural season. So, for example, we can't do a production forecast an entire year before the harvest because there isn't the information that we need on crop growth, on vegetation, et cetera. But those can be carried out several months before the harvest. Why don't I stop there and ask if my colleagues would like to add anything?
Yeah, I think I have one. I'm seeing one. So reading that, how do we replenish the data? So I want to just say that for all the platform, for example, for the Agua, and the different platform, which we will keep maintaining it. So for each year, we will also doing the forecast, updating the data, because what we are saying here is that the platform will not die with the project. So we will keep producing the forecast for each year, the climate data, the crop maps. So we will rerun it each time of the year. And also, I think we have a question related on why, if you are using satellite imagery, how do we obtain the nutrition deficiency? I think these, as you have said, are two different things. For the nutrition, they are using household survey data. And for the crop maps, even for the crop maps, we are using satellite data, but also we are going to the ground truth and have the labels from the ground. So the satellite, we combine both the crop map, satellite, and ground truth. But for the nutrition adequacy, it's mainly based on household survey data. So I think that's the two I see here. Maybe, yeah. Thanks. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to add something. I can see in the chat a question. Someone is asking if the nutrient selection under nutrient adequacy is based on those that are a public health problem in Uganda or another criteria. So we considered 13 nutrients, and most of them are the ones that are really causing some public health problem. So not only in Uganda, but even in other DERPIn countries. So it's based on their importance for health that we really consider them. You also suggested to consider the issue of non-communicable disease versus health food. Yes, I agree with you. Currently, we just consider undernutrition issue. Maybe it's something that we need also to consider this non-communicable disease issue, how we can really capture this aspect, because it's something that is rising, an issue that is rising in many African countries. So this is a suggestion and it's well taken. And then you also ask it's possible to link this platform to your, you refer to Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry, and Fisheries, isn't it? Website. So maybe this is a discussion that we need to continue to see how some of the evidence that we have on the platform can be also published or displayed on your website. Maybe you will need your guidance and we can continue discussion on that. Thank you.
I think I have something related to livestock data. So I think what we do here is we focus mainly on crops, because for the livestock, they are moving and the technology is really different. So maybe next step will be to try to go on it. But for now, we really mainly focus on the crops. So we are not on the livestock data now, but we can have the methodology, we have everything, and if someone is interested, we can work with them on that. So that's also something we can say. And we also see that how smallholders maybe can access those technology. So that's what we were saying. We try to put the mobile app, and also we are working with farmer organization. So just for the vulgarization. So I think that's what we can say. We try to really put the things on the mobile app, and also the next thing will be for those who are on those extension services to use it to display it more and explain it more also to those who cannot have access. That's, I think, one thing that come in my mind, and yeah. The next one, maybe I will let that to be how do we make any evidence on how the platform is being used, for example, by policymaker, researcher, private sector, or academia. What kind of feedback I will get it?
Adam, I'm actually just typing a response. I can start. We can prepare some responses to these questions, since I think we'll probably run out of time to answer them all. So yeah, the the answer that I was typing for that is that the DERPIn platforms that you're being shown today are very new. This is the launch, so this is when their usage will start, we hope. And we are very eager to get feedback from people. So I think we can discuss among the DERPIn team the best way to do that. And when we can do that, maybe a few months from now, maybe we can think about having a user survey. I know that our communications team always monitors the visitors to any platform produced by Academia 2063. But for these platforms specifically, we don't have information yet, and we'll be working on collecting that as we go. And yeah, Dr. Richard also asked about evidence of use from extension workers. And definitely, I think that's an area that's very important. So we will be looking at that, and we also will be relying on the DERPIn partners in Uganda to help connect with extension workers so that they are aware of the platforms, so that they can use them if they are useful, and they can give us feedback on what might help make them more useful if needed. I know there's several other questions in terms of farmers' use of this information. And I know that we've already talked a little bit about it, but there also, I think it's a matter of working through partners in Uganda. One of our hopes for the project is that now that the platforms are produced and the data is available, that institutions in Uganda will be able to take them on and integrate them into their own use. So for example, Mr. Bambona talked about the information system at the ministry. Definitely, Mr. Bambona, we'd love to follow up with you to learn about what we can do to support that information system, and if there's a way for this information to feed into that information system, that could be an interesting opportunity. And I can also mention too that the DERPIn project is over. The platforms, as we mentioned, will be maintained. We will continue on our side to support the use of the platforms and are always happy to help people better understand the platforms. We're happy to sit down with any institution who wants a very detailed look at the platform in order to understand exactly how to interpret all that information. We're happy to do that. And we're also interested in pursuing potential expansions of the DERPIn project. For example, if there were resources for a second phase of DERPIn, then maybe we could do more, even more hands-on training, even more work to really go the last mile and deliver this information to all users. So it's something that we're interested in pursuing.
Someone has his hand up.
Yeah, moderator, I don't know if you can see
Yes,
the hands.
I can't see the hand, but I just see additional comments about engaging people to utilize these tools later on in terms of perception change, to be able to make use of these tools. I think that's one of the things that can also be pushed ahead as people get to utilize these tools.
Moderator, there's a hand from Dr. Rosemirta Birungi. I can see the hands, so if
I can see it. Okay.
okay.
All right. Yes. Now, yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. This is Dr. Rosemirta Birungi. I'm the Africa-wide AES technical lead. And one of the things that we are working on is AI-enabled extension and advisory services across Africa. For me, when I saw this opportunity from our colleague, Dr. Miro, I think this is timely. Even right now, yesterday here in Nairobi, we're discussing similar things, digitalizing soil health data so that it's accessible for quick decision support. One thing that we are learning that is important for this academia initiative is so many apps are being developed, so many decision support systems are being developed and seem to be targeting the farmer, But I think we need to think through the mechanism for delivering and use, because most of these are decision support systems. And so we are starting to think of a component for de-risking the farmer, because as we get so many people bundling digital services to the farmer, we are likely to have a risk of time poverty for the farmer. And yet the farmer needs much more time to be able to concentrate on production. And also the issue of financing, utilization of the apps. It comes with very expensive financial implications. So there are certain risks, and the list keeps on building, from financial to time poverty to even mental stress, because you know what happens with these apps. So the list is growing and growing. And so my message is that as we work on this academia system that has some very good information targeted for the farmer to make a decision, we need to think. And that's why for us, we are thinking of more having a strong intermediary agency role, so that the farmer is de-risked and the information that is sieved, or even the decision support protocol that we generate from such a good initiative like academia, is taken to the farmer in a more de-risking mechanism, so that we don't overburden the farmer, and we instead make the farmer more stronger in the production. The other aspect finally is on the, I have seen the analytics on climate. That's very nice, on the heat maps. Just a point to note that we also need to, as academia, we need to reflect on the traditional continuum of climate information and climate intervention, which traditionally begins with simulations like what you have shown, and then use of the simulations either into decision making by that time, which is either mitigation, adaptation. Now we go into resilience. So I suggest that we don't lose that, so that when the information is brought out, very nice analytics, where does it lie in the continuum of climate information? It still comes from simulation, but is it informing adaptation? Is it informing mitigation? Is it informing resilience? Or it is informing a combination of something new? Because this has implications when it comes to, say, nationally determined contributions for the country, which is evidence-based. So I just give that indication that there's already climate information management and utilization system that feeds into the global reporting framework, and decisions for investment, as you clearly mentioned, that we want this information for investment. So let's go back into the traditional management framework of climate information for decision support, so that it is clear at what point of the continuum this kind of nice analytics and informatics and DSPs are contributing to. And that will be easy for us as users of such good information to adopt and then utilize in our systems which we are developing. Like the AI enabled that we are developing is depending on such analytics, which are input for the AI enabled output. So these are some of the pointers that I wanted to share. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, and I wish you more success.
Thank you, Dr. Rozmita, for that contribution. And I see there's still several other comments and questions, and any other questions because of time, we'll send an email with the responses. I think Julie and the team will respond accordingly. And now we'll move to the last segment of this session, which will be the closing remarks.
Dr. Jane?
Yes, please.
Sorry, apologies, moderator. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And thank you for mentioning we'll send information for other questions, and everyone is welcome to contact us too. I'm putting my email in the chat. And before we go to the closing remarks, if you don't mind, I'd like to quickly launch a very short 2-question poll for all the participants today. We just want to ask you if this session has been useful for you, and if you think that you would be likely to use the platforms. So sorry, just a moment. Okay, actually, apologies. I don't see the trigger for the poll. So let me not slow things down. Maybe we can go to the closing remarks.
Well, the poll has come through.
The poll is showing.
Great, yeah. Okay, thank you. So maybe we can leave this in place and people can respond while we move to the closing remarks, so that so that we don't go too much over our time. Thank you. Apologies for the interruption, moderator.
No worries. Thank you, Julie. Participants, please do respond to the poll. It's quite quick. And as we have that, I would now like to welcome Dr. Babafemi Oyewale, the CEO of the Pan-African Farmers Organization, to give some remarks to us. You're most welcome, Dr. Babafemi.
Thank you very much, moderator, Dr. Kilimba, for giving me this opportunity. So, distinguished esteemed representatives from governments, development partners, farmers organizations, private sector actors, and the entire research and innovation community, and particularly our farmers who joined this webinar. Thank you for participating in the launch of digitally enabled resilience and nutrition policy DERPIn project in Uganda. As we draw this important session to a close, allow me to express our deep appreciation to Academia 2063 and all collaborating institutions for this groundbreaking initiative. The DERPIn platform and its tools is an innovative mechanism for farmers to really improve their productivity. Today's launch here in Uganda is more than a ceremonial milestone. It marks a new chapter in how we generate, assess, and use data, evidence, and policy analysis to strengthen agricultural transformation and food systems across Africa. This platform comes at a critical moment. Our continent is facing converging challenges, from climate shocks and market volatility to resource constraint and youth unemployment. Yet we also hold immense potential. Evidence-based policymaking driven by timely and reliable data is not a luxury. It is an absolute necessity. DERPIn offers a bridge between research and decision-making, ensuring that policy choices are informed by facts, not assumptions. We are particularly encouraged that the platform is inclusive, designed to serve not only policymakers and analysts, but also farmers, organizations, extension systems, and agribusinesses, by empowering local institutions to use data and evidence to ensure that the transformation of African food systems is both bottom-up and sustainable. On behalf of farmers across Africa, I wish to reaffirm PAPO's commitment to collaborate with Academia 2063 and national partners in the use, dissemination, and contextualization of DERPIn tools. We will continue to promote these innovations across our 5 regional networks and over 90 national farmers organizations to enhance their productivity and ensure that evidence truly reaches those who produce our food. The millions of smallholder farmers in Africa, we are therefore appealing to our farmers to use this platform because it is developed for you. It will evolve with your feedback. Please tell us what works, what doesn't, and what features you want next. It is in doing this that the technical team can fine-tune the platform for optimum benefit of the farmers. There was a question on the chat on how smallholder farmers can access this crop mapping technology in rural areas, especially those who are not with farmer organizations. We encourage farmers to be part of farmers organizations at all levels so that they can avail themselves of innovations and other value-adding services that farmers organizations offer. Let me conclude by congratulating once again Academia 2063 for providing the technical support and for associating PAFO with the project. Also the GIZ for funding the project. The government of Uganda for their support. The project's focal point in Uganda, researchers and all partners who made this national launch possible. Together, let us continue to build data ecosystems and partnerships that will make Africa's agricultural sector agricultural transformation not just a vision, but a measurable, inclusive, and lasting reality. Thank you all for your participation and commitment. Together, we move from evidence to impact. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Over to you, the moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Bafemi, for those wonderful comments. And next, I would like to invite Ms. Barbara Cruz, the project lead at GIZ, to give us some remarks. Ms. Barbara, you're most welcome.
Yes, hello. Just give me a moment to settle. Just a minute, please. Did you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you.
Yeah. Just a minute, please.
We can hear you, Barbara.
Okay, here I am. So, honorable representatives, researchers, scientists, farmers, fellows in mission, dear colleagues, with great pleasure have I listened and learned today about the results achieved in the use case in Uganda. Can you still hear me? Hello?
We hear you, Barbara. There's a little
Yeah.
bit of background, but we can hear you.
Okay. And I feel honored indeed because this initiative is a truly authentic endemic initiative of the African continent. The innovation was generated by Academia 2063, and the proposal came from academia. From the very beginning, the ownership was with the partner in the driver's seat. It is indeed an emerging cooperation solution and the one with the future in the volatile world governance of today. It is a lighthouse of South-South cooperation. The exact role was only a facilitating and a funding one. Together with Benin, Ghana, Senegal, and Malawi, we are celebrating the successful completion of the groundbreaking project, digitally enabled resilience and nutrition policy innovation. On behalf of GIZ and the Fund for the Promotion of Innovation in Agriculture, I sincerely thank our implementing partners, academia, esteemed colleagues from the Pan-African Farmers Organizations, and the country-level researcher partners for making this happen. Thank you very much for sharing your moment of success with GIZ. All the best for you.
Thank you, Ms. Barbara, for those wonderful remarks. And I now invite the Director, Data Management, Digital Products and Technology at Academia, Dr. Racine Lai, to give us our closing remarks. You're most welcome, Dr. Racine.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Jane. I would like to thank everyone who joined the call today. Most importantly, the researchers and country representatives within Uganda and outside, and also colleagues that really helped to develop these products and to showcase them. I also thank PAFO for the very impactful collaboration and also for GIZ for supporting this work and being among the first really big institution believing in this endeavor. I am just going to maybe quickly talk about how relevant this work is. As you maybe probably learned from the United Nations General Assembly, now the world is discussing about governing AI and using it for climate, but also in our food production systems. That is the discussion at the global level. We do know also that at the regional level, the continent, the African Union has an AI strategy and also a climate change strategy. We know also that we are aligned there as well. Now, the biggest chunk of the work is how do we implement those at the national level? What are the enablers? What are the success factors? What are the barriers? And I think this first foundational work that use very top level geospatial data and AI and building these foundational data sets and analytics, I think is paving the way towards really having a system where we don't rely anymore on anecdotal facts for policy making, but we'll be using technology to really advise our policymakers and decision makers. And decision makers are not only policymakers; they are most importantly the farmers that makes decisions every day. So I really appreciate the questions that you ask about how do we push those technologies to the farmers, but also how do we have the feedbacks to be able to update those technologies for their own needs, because they are at the forefront of whatever we are talking about here in terms of resilience. If we are resilient, it's because they are. I think that our work is to serve them. And I'm very happy that the team and myself will be very happy to collaborate with you and see how we can push this forward. Thank you so much for the work. The platform will not die, of course, as colleagues mentioned. And we will be developing the analytics. We will be pushing those barriers in terms of technology to make sure that we really transform our food system for the better. Thank you so much, everyone. Back to you, Dr. Jane.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for those wonderful closing remarks. We'll also just add a few just to thank everybody for participating in this workshop. Appreciate all the stakeholders for all that you have done to bring out results from this project. And the links to the platforms have been shared. Encourage you to please utilize them and share with colleagues that have not been on this call. And for any comments, please do reach out to academia. Julie has shared her email address in the chat. Please do reach out for anything. Thank you so much. And Julie, do you have anything else to say?
I'll just say a huge thank you to the DERPIn team from all of the partners. Thank you to GIZ, the funder, without which none of this would be possible. Thank you to my colleagues at Academia 2063. Thank you to Makerere University for your leadership on the data collection side, and to all of the data collectors, and very happy to have some of the data collection team here. Thank you to the National Alliance for Agricultural Cooperatives in Uganda, who's helped a lot with reaching out to farmers, and will definitely continue to work with you in the future to make sure this is very accessible to everyone. Thank you to the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Industries. Thank you for all of your help throughout the project, and to Mr. Bambona for your presence here today. And again, this is a launch. This is the beginning of the productive use, we certainly hope, of these platforms. And we're ready to continue working with users and with partners to help make sure that they're accessible. So I'm sure a lot of you will continue to hear from us frequently. But again, a huge thank you to the DERPIn team, and thank you to everybody for helping to organize this event. Thank you to our moderator, Dr. Jane, for guiding us through our very interesting discussion. And thanks so much to all the participants.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, everybody. And I want to
Thank you,
wish
everybody.
you a good rest of the day, evening,
Yes.
afternoon, morning, wherever you may be joining us from. Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you very much.
Thank you.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
bye. Thanks for the
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
A good holiday tomorrow.
Nice day, evening to everyone.